Imagine you're standing at an airport gate, the kind we've all shuffled through with carry-ons in a hurried pace, when out of nowhere, a German shepherd named Max starts barking like the world's about to end. It's not just a casual woof. This is a full-on, desperate howl aimed right at Captain Harris, the pilot, who's got one hand on the plane's door, about 10 feet from the boarding line. Harris freezes, his face a mix of confusion and a nervous grin, while Max's cries grow louder, echoing across the terminal. Passengers nearby, maybe 20 feet back, turn their heads, eyes wide, some digging out their phones, others clutching their bags like they're bracing for trouble. You can feel the air shift, that uneasy hum we've all sensed when something's off. Sergeant Allen, Max's handler, tenses up, his hands hovering near his belt. He's worked with this dog for years, seen him sniff out danger from 50 yards away, and he knows this isn't random. "Max, calm down," he mutters, tugging the collar, but Max won't budge. His body's rigid, eyes locked on Harris, growling low and urgent, like he's trying to shout a warning no one can crack. Harris chuckles nervously. "Everything okay with the dog?" But Officer Thompson cuts in, voice flat. "Sorry, sir, something's not right." For us older folks, it's a scene that might stir up memories of a trusty hound barking at a stranger before the doorbell even rang. Those instincts we relied on before tech took over. The crowd murmurs, security edges closer, and Harris feels a chill crawl up his spine. Max isn't letting him near that plane. It's not anger in the dog's stare, but a plea, a frantic signal that's got everyone on edge. Allen and Thompson exchange a quick glance. They've seen Max react to threats before, but this is different. Raw, unscripted, like he's guarding a secret no scanner can catch. Passengers whisper, the tension thickens, and no one knows if it's a false alarm or a crisis about to blow. Max's barking isn't just noise, it's a siren, a lifeline screaming for attention, and soon it'll prove he's onto something big, something that could have turned that flight into a nightmare. At that hectic airport gate, just 30 feet from where travelers juggled boarding passes and coffee cups, Max the German Shepherd wasn't just another K9 on patrol. He was a living alarm, driven by something deeper than any trainer could drill into him. His barks at Captain Harris, the pilot poised to board a plane 10 feet away, weren't the usual sniffs for drugs or explosives that Sergeant Allen had seen him nail from 50 yards out. No, Max's eyes burned with a wild urgency, his body taut as he growled and paced, locked onto Harris like a compass needle. Allen, who'd partnered with Max for years, tried to hush him. "Max, enough!" But the dog's focus didn't waver, his low whines cutting through the terminal's hum. This wasn't the cool, calculated K9 who'd breezed through security drills. This was instinct, raw and unscripted. The kind that makes your hair stand up, like when a farm dog you grew up with would snarl at a shadow before you saw the threat. For us seniors, it's a throwback to those days when we trusted gut feelings, before apps and alerts drowned out the quiet voice of knowing. Officer Thompson caught Allen's glance, both men sensing Max wasn't chasing a scent from his playbook. Drugs or bombs would have been sniffed out fast. Harris, flustered, muttered, "I've flown countless times. This is ridiculous." But Max's rigid stance screamed otherwise, circling the pilot, then freezing on him again, as if shouting a riddle no one could solve. The crowd, backed off about 20 feet now, whispered nervously, phones up, while security hovered, caught between protocol and the dog's relentless warning. Max's training had taught him to detect the usual suspects, narcotics, explosives, even a nervous sweat's chemical shift. But this was beyond the manual, a sixth sense no machine could match. For those of us who've lived a few decades, it's like when a loyal mutt nudged you from a bad path, or a friend's hunch kept you from trouble. Wisdom you can't teach, only feel. Allen's frustration flickered. They checked Harris's bag, found nothing, but Max's pacing, his soft whines, kept pulling them back. Was he sensing? Not a bomb, not a drug, but something wrong, something alive in the moment, hidden where scanners failed. It's the kind of mystery that sticks with you, like a story you'd share over supper about a dog that knew a storm was coming before the sky turned. Max wasn't just doing his job. He was guarding a truth no one else saw, proving that sometimes instinct outshines every checklist and gadget. His stubborn suspicion held the key, and soon it'd crack open a secret that could have wrecked more than just a flight. It could have broken a man's life. The air at that airport gate, about 30 feet from where travelers shuffled with their carry-ons, crackled with tension as Max, the German Shepherd, refused to let Captain Harris board the plane just 10 feet away. His barks had faded to growls, but his eyes stayed glued to the pilot, a steady warning that kept Sergeant Allen and Officer Thompson on edge. They'd seen Max sniff out trouble from 50 yards off. Drugs, explosives, you name it. But this time his focus felt different, urgent and unshakable. "We need to check your things, sir," Allen said, voice firm, while Harris nodded, his face clouded with confusion, maybe 20 feet from a murmuring crowd clutching phones. The officers dug into his carry-on bag. Clothes, toiletries, nothing odd. Moving fast but careful, like folks sorting through a junk drawer back home, looking for a lost key. Every second stretched, the silence between Max's growls heavy, as if time itself held its breath. For us seniors, it's the kind of moment that stirs up memories of a dog pawing at the floorboards, knowing something's buried underneath before you do. Max paced tight circles, whining softly, his gaze never leaving Harris, a signal that whatever it wasn't in the bag. Allen's frustration simmered. "There's nothing here." But Max's instincts, sharper than a Midwest farmer's nose for rain, wouldn't let up. Then it happened. Thompson, rifling through Harris's jacket, froze, his hands trembling as he pulled out a small, oily pouch from the lining, about the size of a wallet, hidden deep where no one would think to look. "Sergeant, I've got something," he whispered, eyes wide, and Allen's heart kicked up a notch. He stepped closer, peering at the thick fabric, then watched Thompson unfold it, revealing a rusty metal object wrapped in cloth, an old tool or device, something that didn't belong with a pilot, let alone near a plane. "Max, is this it?" Allen asked, voice shaky, and Max barked again, sharp and sure, like he'd finally pinned the threat. Harris stumbled back, pale as a ghost, stammering, "I don't know what that is, I swear." For those of us who've lived a bit, it's like finding a snake in the woodpile. Shocking, but you trust the dog that sniffed it out first. The crowd gasped, security tightened, and the air buzzed with 1,000 questions. What was it? A bomb? A trick? Max's growls had led them to this hidden object, a discovery that sent chills racing, proving his nose caught what eyes missed. It was no routine find. It was a ticking mystery, one that could have turned that flight into chaos, or worse, if Max hadn't barked his way to the truth. The officers stood stunned, knowing this was just the start of unraveling something bigger, all thanks to a dog's relentless hunch. The chaos at the airport gate, just 30 feet from where passengers milled with their boarding passes, had reached a fever pitch as Max's growls led officers to a rusty metal object hidden in Captain Harris's jacket, pulled from a pouch about 5 inches long. Sergeant Allen and Officer Thompson stood frozen, the plane's door 10 feet away, as the bomb squad rolled in, their gear clanking like a scene from an old war movie we seniors might recall. Harris, pale and trembling, kept stammering, "I've never seen it before, I swear," his voice cracking like a kid caught in a lie he didn't tell. Max's ears perked, his eyes locked on the pouch, barking sharp and urgent, as if he knew the stakes were sky high. The crowd backed off maybe 20 feet, whispered and filmed, while Allen's mind raced. This thing looked like an old detonator, the kind you'd see in a grainy newsreel about a foiled plot. Could it blow? Was Harris a threat? For us older folks, it's the kind of twist that takes you back to when a dog's howl meant check the barn. Trouble's brewing. The bomb squad worked fast, their calm a stark contrast to the terminal's buzz, and after tense minutes, maybe 10, though it felt like hours, they delivered the shock. It wasn't a bomb. It was a decoy, a rusted fake, crafted to look deadly, but missing the guts to explode. Relief washed over Allen like a cool breeze after a storm, but questions piled up fast. Harris's jaw dropped. Framed? Why me? A plea that echoed the bewilderment we've felt when life throws a curveball. Max sat rigid, still alert, as if he'd sniffed out the deception itself, not just the metal. For those of us who've seen a few decades, it's a reminder of how truth can hide in plain sight, like a prank gone wrong that fools everyone but the old hound. The device wasn't a danger, but its discovery mid-flight could have sparked panic, grounded planes, and wrecked Harris's life. 30 years of flying spotless, now teetering on ruin. Allen's voice steadied. Someone wanted us to think this was worse than it is. And Harris just nodded, shell-shocked, caught in a web he didn't weave. The revelation turned the tide. Max hadn't saved them from a blast, but from a setup, a silent trap no scanner caught. It's the kind of story you'd swap over coffee, marveling at a dog's knack for knowing what's off, even when it's not what it seems. The bomb squad packed up, passengers shuffled back, and Harris stared at Max, a mix of awe and dread in his eyes. This decoy device, a fake with real stakes, proved Max's instincts were gold, unraveling a mystery that could have ended in chaos, all before the wheels even left the ground. The dust settled at the airport gate, about 30 feet from where travelers had scattered, as the bomb squad cleared the rusty decoy device, just 5 inches of metal that had turned Captain Harris's world upside down. Max, the German shepherd, sat calm now, his job done, while Sergeant Allen and Officer Thompson pieced together the real story, the plane still looming 10 feet away. It started with Max's frantic barks, a warning that kept Harris from boarding and led to a hidden pouch in his jacket. Something Harris swore he'd never seen, his voice shaking like a man staring down a ghost. The crowd, once buzzing 20 feet back, had thinned, but the tension lingered as security footage rolled in, grainy like an old TV rerun we seniors might remember. There it was, a shadowy figure slipping the fake detonator into Harris's jacket at a bar the night before, 50 miles from the airport, while he sipped a drink, oblivious. Harris's face drained. Targeted? Me? A question that hit like a punch. The kind we felt when betrayal sneaks up after years of trust. Max's instincts had sniffed out a setup, not a bomb, a personal vendetta dressed up as disaster. For us older folks, it's a nod to those times a loyal dog growled at a stranger we'd later dodge, sensing trouble we couldn't see. The decoy wouldn't have blown, but if found mid-flight, 30,000 feet up, it'd have sparked chaos, panic, an emergency landing, Harris's 20-year career torched in an instant. Allen's steady voice cut through, "Someone wanted you ruined," and Harris could only stare at Max, awe mixing with relief. The footage pointed to a grudge, maybe an old rival, a ghost from Harris's past, but the why stayed murky, a puzzle half solved. For those of us who've watched life unfold, it's a tale of how truth hides, like a letter lost in the mail, only found when you dig. Max didn't just save a plane, he saved Harris from a fall he didn't deserve, proving a dog's heart can outsmart a schemer's mind. The terminal quieted, passengers trickled back, and Harris, still rattled, faced a new reality. Someone out there hated him enough to stage this, 500 miles from his usual routes. It's the kind of story you'd share over supper, marveling at a four-legged hero who saw through the lie when no one else could. Max's barks had peeled back a setup, a trap sprung not with fire, but with fear, and turned a pilot's nightmare into a second chance. For seniors like us, it's a reminder of the quiet saviors, dogs, friends, fate, that pull us back from the edge, even when the danger's a shadow no one else spots. The story of Max, the German shepherd who stopped Captain Harris from boarding a plane, carries lessons that resonate deeply for us seniors. Max's urgent barks teach us to trust our instincts, those quiet nudges we've honed over decades, like when we sense a friend's trouble before they speak. His uncovering of a decoy device reveals how truth can lurk beneath the surface, urging us to look closer at what seems off, whether it's a story that doesn't add up or a situation too neat to be real. The setup against Harris reminds us that danger isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's a hidden grudge, not a loud threat, and patience can untangle it. For those of us over 50, Max's tale is a call to lean on the wisdom we've earned, the kind that spots a storm before the clouds roll in, much like the dogs we loved in our youth. It's about valuing the quiet heroes, pets, kin, or even our own gut, who guide us through life's twists. In our later years, it's a nudge to stay sharp, trust the unseen, and cherish the bonds that keep us steady when shadows fall.